All right, we be live. Shalom and Durud, everyone. I'm here with Niva. We have a special guest here today. So I have been talking. I'm in touch with a lot of Iranians, but I feel like I need to talk to more Israelis, and because I have a good sense of what the Iranian people think and what they're talking about these days. But I think like Iranians and Israelis need to talk to more. I've been preaching that Iranians and Israelis need to talk more to each other. So I need to actually do what I'm preaching. So that's why I'm here and talking to Niva here today. So Niva, hi. Thank you for coming here and talking to me. I really appreciate it. Can you
Thank you for
introduce yourself?
inviting me.
Yeah,
It's
no
such an
worries.
honor to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
here.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Um, so, for people who might be new here, I'm Iranian, you're Israeli. We're talking to each other, and I think this is an important time for Israelis and Iranians to talk to each other more. But can you introduce yourself a little bit to our audience so people know who you are?
Of course, I'm Niva, and I'm part of a group of people who run a call show that is called the Atheist Line. And what we do is we every Sunday at 9 o'clock we go live and we receive calls from believers and we talk to them about their beliefs while trying to introduce them to critical thinking and trying to make them maybe establish a bit more critical thinking and perhaps examine whether they believe in the correct things from the correct reasons.
Oh, wow.
And
That's amazing.
yeah,
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for your service. Well, so what do you So this is actually interesting because I think you are more in touch with the atheist community within Israel, um, and right
not
now,
only though, because we have discussion groups. So we have believers and
right?
atheists basically in those. Yeah.
Okay, okay. How is that scene looking like right now, given that Israel is under attack? Are you guys uh, united, regardless of being religious or atheist, or more secular minded or less secular minded? Like, does that like are religious people and non-religious people in Israel united against this threat right now, or like
Oh,
what do you
definitely. Definitely.
definitely?
Those missiles have no specific, they don't target based on beliefs. They target you based on like just location.
Yeah.
Any Israeli, Arab, Jew, believer, non-believer, we're all targets.
Right, right. And how's the morale right now? Like based on the people you're in touch with in Israel, like are people optimistic regarding the direction that this war is going, or are they disappointed, or what is it like right now? Because
I've
the
seen
regime is still
amazing videos. I've seen amazing videos, people with really high morals saying, you're not going to break us. It doesn't matter. We know we're on the right side of history, and
Mhm.
that's more important than anything else. Well, also seen videos of destruction, like it's nobody likes to be at war. But if you're going to be at war, at least you want to be on the right side of it.
Right. And have the what about the political disagreements? Because I know a lot of Israelis sometimes have disagreements regarding the current government.
Hmm.
Um, but and sometimes there's a lot of internal disagreements regarding politics. Are Do you get the sense of that at this time of at the time of war, are Israelis putting those differences aside as well right now and getting back behind the current government regarding their enemy, which is the
I
Islamic
would say
Republic?
so. I think it's amazing how Israel's image, I would say, shifted so fast from villain, the big villain that is tormenting, everybody's against Israel, and all of a sudden this changed. Like, all of a sudden you hear positive voices about Israel. We're saying, well, they did the dirty job nobody else would do, or they did think they had more bravery than other countries would, but obviously we had no choice because we're the first target of
Yeah. Yeah, but like what I want to like get a sense of is because a lot of, for example, a lot of Iranians right now are
yeah,
not just supporting Israel because Israel is attacking the Islamic Republic, and a lot of Iranians love that. But at the same time, um, a lot of Iranians are supporting Netanyahu. Okay, and they love Bibi, and they love the fact that he's taking these actions. However, some Israelis I noticed they don't like Netanyahu. Okay, and sometimes some Israelis I noticed, some of them, I haven't seen that a lot. Uh, some Israelis think that Iranians shouldn't be celebrating Netanyahu this much. Okay, but what do you think? Like, what's your view on
I'm not
this?
a big fan. I'm not a big fan of Netanyahu. I think
Mhm.
like we have internal things as well, and I think he is giving in too much to the religious Jews at the expense of the secular Jews. There's a lot of money, there's a lot of funding, a lot of things, even under the table, go to the religious part of the country. And we would like to see this country thrive and would like to see this country flourish like it should be. And I think a lot of his decisions are counterproductive to how we want to see the country. But that's internal affairs. External affairs, when it comes to making that decision regarding the Iranian, government, I think that was a brilliant decision. And I think all Israelis agree on that, or at least 99% of people that I know would.
Right, right. And what is it? A lot of the Israelis I talk to, they keep
Mhm.
telling me that they support the Iranian people, and the war is only against the Islamic Republic. But that's only the Israelis I'm in touch with. Do you get the sense of that's a more general view in Israel, or is that only the Israelis that I talk to? Like, do you get like what do you
Definitely,
what? Yeah, okay,
definitely. I think most people can tell the difference between our regime and the people. You know, we know we have we know that people have Iranian roots. I have my great granddad is Iranian, and we have most Israelis would have some Iranian roots or some relatives with Iranian roots, or they know the suffering that they've had to go through and endure, and they know the nation, the Iranian people still go through that. And I remember us as atheists, we cheered you up when you were beginning to have like it was the spring like the Arabian revolt. I don't know. There was like some kind of changes. It looked like it might be changes to your government. I think was it 2000. I can't remember the year specifically, but I remember there. It looked like things might change for better. And I remember we were cheering for you. We were just hoping you'll get rid of all those, like
hmm
the religion and be able women's rights. Everything looked like it's going to be much better. And hopefully, maybe this is the start. Maybe this is the seed that will start it.
right. Are you optimistic about the direction that we're heading?
Well, I have to say, I think
Right.
eventually, religions will have to decay and give in to critical thinking and free minds because there's only so much you can force people into believing things that are incorrect. Eventually, the truth will prevail. Like we have now more information available to anybody who wants to than ever before. Like you can talk to ChatGPT and ask him questions like things that you were not able to ask anybody before, or things that you couldn't trust the answers before, because it was based on someone's views or something. And now you can say, give me the facts, or please verify it against encyclopedia or something, and you can have proper answers. So I believe eventually we will see the
Right.
world become
So
less religious. But before that, it's going to be a big struggle, I think.
Do you consider this war right now that is happening between the regime in Iran and Israel to be a religious war?
I do. I do. I think because Israel was once under Muslim rules, like when the Ottoman Empire controlled it, it was
Mm,
Muslim. And because there's a rule that a land that used to be Muslim will always stay Muslim, there is a lot more religious emotions involved in this. It's not about property. It's not about lands. It's about religion. I think it's about whose God is bigger, because our
mm,
God promised us this land, and your God, it's like whose God is actually the bigger God, and that who's the
mm.
chosen people really.
I do I might be biased because I come from an Islamic society and you come from a Jewish society, and I noticed that atheists based on their background they might be tempted to focus on how bad the religion that they come from is.
Yeah.
So I might be biased in saying this, but I tend to think that on the Israeli side it's not as religious, this whole conflict, and on compared to the Iranian regime side. You know what I mean? Like I think from the Israeli side, yes, you have some very religious people that make this into they try to make this into a religious conflict. But I get the sense that from the Israeli side, even among religious Israelis, this is not about religion. This is just about surviving and living.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
more, yeah. It's mostly the Islamic Republic side that makes this into a religious thing more than the
I
Israeli
agree with
side.
you. I agree. I think
Yeah. Okay.
Jews have been through so much. They have nowhere else to go. They only have one country which they can control and actually not be under someone else's decision. And for them, it's just about survival. And I think when I said it was religious, I meant from the Islamic point of view. It was like your God moved to us now, and it chose us, so this land should be ours, I think.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, technically, Islam wants to dominate the entire planet. So,
Yeah. But
the way,
there's a
the way,
special vendetta against the Jews because they were there at the beginning and they claim originality. And if you want to revise history, you first have to get rid of that.
um, so the way I see it is that the reason why Israel, other than them being Jewish, is such a important barrier that the Islamic world has to go through is because they're just in the way right now for dominating the Middle East. They see it like it's just right in the middle of everything, and they see it as the presence of Western imperialism right in the middle of this area that they could have been an Islamic empire. I mean, at first they wanted to make it, the Pan Arabists were trying to create an Arab empire, and Israel was right in the middle, and it was very difficult to create that. And then when Pan Arabism failed, now Israel is right in the middle of a potential caliphate according to the Sunnis, or an imamate according to the Shias. So basically, just Israel is just ruining everything when it comes to building an empire, whether it's an Arab empire by the Pan Arabists, or a caliphate empire by the Sunnis, or an imamate empire by the Shias.
Yeah.
Um, to be able to create an empire in this region, and then eventually create a bloc, a
Spread out.
powerful political bloc, to start fighting the rest of the world. Israel is just stopping all of that for all of them. So
It's
this
like
is
a
why
little
it's such
stain
a,
on a white shirt that you just want to remove, huh?
yeah, exactly. This tiny little country right in the middle of all
Yeah.
of this. And that's why so many of them think that this is by design, right? A lot of them think that Western power, the only reason Israel was created by these Western power is so that that is right in the middle of all their projects right there. And that's why they're all so united in trying to remove the stain from the middle of all their projects, right?
Yeah, but
But
allow me to
yeah.
stop you for a second. How can Israel be Western colonialism when Jews were the indigenous people in this country? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Everywhere in the Bible and the Quran, it says Jews lived in Israel. Like, how can we be? How can it be imperialism?
yeah, I mean, I didn't say they make any sense.
Yeah.
I said that.
Maybe I
I
think
said
it's
this.
just the fact that Jews have moved on to more Western values like equality and freedom of mind and other things that even if you're a bit religious, you still have those views. Like most people in Israel would still want equality, even if they believe in religion, you know?
Right. I mean, yeah, but even though they're wrong that this was not by design, it just happened to. But they're correct about that. This is being the effect, and that's why it's so important to support Israel. Is because they're correct to say that Israel is standing between them and world dominance, right? They envision, after the fall of the Soviet Union, they envision themselves being either the Arab Empire or an Islamic Empire to become this new political bloc against the Western bloc. So it was used to be Soviet Union against the Western powers. Now they envisioned it could be us becoming united and be this power, this united power again. But Israel was just stopping it all the time, which is actually true. Uh, which means that we all have Israel to thank for stopping this united Islamic power being created against the entire Western civilization. So that's why I don't understand why so many people in the West are don't understand what they're getting out of supporting Israel, because they're actually getting more than the cost associated with it. So that's how I feel.
I think the West is not very well educated on the conflict. I mean, when you look at the sheer amount of Jews and let's say people who support the Jews, compared to the amount of maybe more radical Muslims, then like it's 1 to 100, okay? And there's not much you can do when you're surrounded with so many half truths and lies. I mean, most people don't go and check facts, and that's why we are trying to promote critical thinking. You hear the rumor and people around you seem to believe it, you believe it. You don't go and check what, like, who was where, what, how things happened. You just hear from your friends what happened, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true in most societies. What is the? This is what I'm very curious about. What is the? What's your understanding of the general view of Iranians in Israel right now? Like, if I go, I know that you don't, obviously, you don't speak. I don't speak on behalf of Iranian people. You don't speak on behalf of
Of
all
course.
Israeli people. But if you had to guess, if you were speaking, if I go to Tel Aviv or Haifa or like Jerusalem, and if I just randomly picked somebody who was walking into the street in Israeli and asked them about Iranian people, what do you think I would hear?
I think you're going to
Say,
get a lot of love. I think the
right,
Israeli people love the Iranian people and they know what kind of like treatment they get from the regime and they know well, women about just the veil, you know,
mm,
the hijab or whatever. Women had been murdered and injured so much just about basic human rights to walk around the way you want to, you know? And I think the Israeli people are aware of that. They know that it's not through choice. They know that we're talking about people who suffer, who have been injured and killed for freedom. So definitely, I think you're going to get lots of love from the Israeli people.
mm. Do you think that this war that we're in the middle of could potentially bring a secular democratic Iran that would have good relationship with Israel? Are you
Oh,
optimistic about that happening?
I wish I was actually going to ask you that because you're the Iranian. So I
Mm,
mean, I know Israel attacked a lot of military, like personnel at the head of, you know. But my question is, how how far do you think it is, like between this and actually being able to overthrow the regime and allow freedom to the Iranian people?
So I know this is a very difficult question to answer, but I know that we have never been this close. So, hold on. So what I want to so right now Israel is doing a fantastic job in weakening the Islamic Republic in a way that the Iranian people would have never been able to do unless they spent half a million lives in blood, because the Iranian people, to be fair to them, they have tried. They have been very brave. They have came into the streets. They have protested, and they have paid the heaviest of prices for it, not just with their blood, but also with torture, with their loved ones being threatened, with rape, with so many other, and for all of the for everything they have paid, they haven't seen much results. Like, they haven't seen the Islamic Republic being hurt as they
Weekend.
came into the
Yeah.
streets many, yeah, weakened as much, and then Israel comes in, and within hours, it it hits the Islamic Republic. It's such a devastating blow in a way that the Iranian people could not even imagine of achieving with
Yeah.
years and years of protesting, right? So, I mean, that's why so many Iranians are thankful. And let me be fair, it's not all Iranians. I don't want to paint like a too much of a rosy picture for you guys. Like, the way I see it is three categories of Iranians. Okay, let me just be
Mhm.
completely honest. Okay, the first category of Iranians are Iranians who might not be like loving Israel or supporting Israel, but they're also not anti-Israel. And right, the current war that is happening, they blame it
Mhm.
mostly on the Islamic Republic and not on Israel, even though they're not going to go like, yeah, Israel, okay. So I think that's the highest number of. I mean, I have no scientifically collected data, so this is just guess. So I've,
Yeah.
you could take it with a grain of salt. So I think this is the highest number. People who don't go out and just say we love Israel, but they also don't hate Israel, and they, whatever happens to them, they blame the Islamic Republic. That's number one. The second group is us. The second is, so among the three groups, the second group would be people like us who not only do we blame the Islamic Republic, we also support Israel because we see how important they are and how beneficial they are, and um, how much our values and our goals are in line, and the common enemy that we have. I think if I had to guess, that would be the second highest group in population. And the
Mhm.
third group are the deluded people. I think, like, honestly, I think they are less than 10%.
Mhm.
Are the people who the government has managed to brainwash, and they support the Islamic Republic right now in this war, and they're anti-Israeli. And I think if I had to guess, they're less than 10%, right?
Uh,
But these are, yeah. So that's how I see it, right? But where was it? Um, so you were asking about whether this will lead into a secular, like with the toppling of the regime, right? So this all depends on whether or not the Iranian people at the moment, at the most crucial moment, they will come into the streets or not. And honestly, I don't know if they would, and I would be disappointed if they don't. I don't know. Right now, it's not the time for them to come out because, I mean, Israel is telling the Iranian people to evacuate. So you cannot ask the Iranian people to evacuate and also be present in the streets at the same time for protesting, right? That those two things cannot be happening at the same time.
Question
But I,
is protest
yeah,
enough though? Protest is not enough. I think you might have to have like some kind of group or something, you know?
like what group? Like armed force? Like you need people to be armed? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't think protest is enough. Protest is like saying I disagree.
Mm. So, but by protest, I mean the what is taskhir in English? The capturing of key bases. Like, it's not just in the streets. I'm talking about
Yeah.
people coming into the streets and noticing that the threat have been neutralized, like noticing that the Basij bases and the Niru and Tazami bases have been neutralized by Israel. And once they're in the street and they're noticing that the force against them has been neutralized, they go from being in the streets to actually going out into the buildings,
All
the
right.
government buildings, and then capturing the government buildings. That's what I want to see, right?
That's amazing.
Um,
That would be amazing. Yeah.
yeah. So, but for that to happen, at some point, we need the IDF to. I mean, they already have to some extent, but we need more of it to start taking out all the Basijis, all the Basij bases, and all the Niriyantazami bases. Because right now, Israel, rightfully so, is focusing on the nuclear sites, on the missile launchers, and now they're also focusing on the ground forces and the navy, rightfully so. But at some point, they need to focus on the bases that are specifically designed for controlling the people
Internal
and anti-right.
affairs.
Yes, internal, so that basically to support the Iranian people. I mean, they already done that, but we just need so much more of that. And then once they neutralize most of the forces that are there to stop protests in the streets, then if they take out Khamenei, that would be the signal for the Iranian people to come out. So yeah, again, that's what I'm hoping to see. I don't know, so that's the order of things that I hope for it to happen. But
Me
do
too.
you think
I
Israel
wish.
will take out yeah, okay, go on.
I don't know. I don't know. I wish they would, and I wish they would work with the Iranian people. Maybe even, you know how in Gaza, before they bombed an area, they would say, please leave your houses because of this and this. It's going to be here. There's going to be some kind of, they left leaflets, right? So I wish they would leave
Right,
leaflets for the Iranian people as to what we're going to do and how we're going to work together to overthrow the regime. That would be amazing, right? That would be like a superhero scenario. Like,
right.
this
Well,
is how we're going to do it.
leaflets,
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I mean, leaflets might not work for Iran because Iran is just so, like, it's not, Gaza is such a tiny area.
I
Iran is
know.
so vast. The good thing is that Iranians have satellite TV, so even when they cut the internet, the Iranians are watching satellite TV and they're getting the announcements from Israel. Because here's an interesting thing:
Oh,
the regime is not giving them the announcements of where to go and what to do. There's no shelters, there's no sirens when the attacks
yeah.
are happening. So the Iranian people are watching Israelis and like they're waiting for Israel to tell them what the hell they're
Wow.
supposed to do and where to go, right? Right.
Did
So
I
that's
did I
and
hear correctly that they try to block to block the Israeli, like informing the Iranian?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
They did that. Yes, yes. Which
Did
is
Elon
which is
Musk
so
open the internet? Because I think he mentioned that he's going to open Starlink access to the internet for the Iranian people.
so Starlink was already available in Iran, but I think
Hmm.
what Elon Musk did is that he waived the membership, so you don't have to pay for it. But the
Oh, I
issue
see.
is like, so we already had a lot of people in Iran, well, not a lot in number, but small in percentage. The problem is
Yes.
that the problem is more of a hardware issue rather than having access to Starlink. There's just not enough Starlink hardware, the dish and the like the whatever the equipment is needed.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So we need to get more. I mean, we're hoping that we get to
Infrastructure.
a point where, yes. I mean, we're hoping we get to a point where you don't like need like modern phones could just directly connect to a Starlink. What Once that happens, then it will be censorship will be impossible all around the world, right? um but we're not gonna, I mean, I don't think it's gonna take that long. I think the regime might be at the verge of collapsing any moment now,
Yeah.
so we don't have to wait for that anymore. um
Crossing
yeah,
fingers. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. By the way, keep asking me questions because you're asking good questions. So if you have any more questions, let me know. Like, also, by the way, Amir is in the background, highlighting comments and starting them. Uh, Also, by the way, Ginga is asking me why you have stopped scheduling the streams, because things are happening any moment right now. And I cannot be on a schedule anymore. I just need to be ready upon going on a moment's notice, and I get to do more streams if I don't have to schedule them. But thank you for the super chat. But go on, Eva. You wanted to say something? Did you have a question?
Um, I'm wondering. like, before we went on this, before I saw the response from the Iranian people, I was sure there's gonna be some backlash at Israel because like there's always casualties when even if you try to hit very precise person, you still have relatives and whatever. So I wasn't sure how the Iranian people gonna take it, even though it wasn't addressed to the Iranian people. Do you think um do you think the Iranian people know that it's basically supposed to help them? Do you think
Oh
that
yeah.
they feel that it's supposed to help them?
I mean, that's what I'm seeing everywhere. Like, honestly, this is like what you is like when you go, for example, when the news is being announced, how you look at the chat, the live chat, what the Iranian people are, when you look at the comments on Instagram, on
Mm,
Twitter, on YouTube, when you see like, I would say 95 plus percent of the comments that you see by Iranians everywhere, they're loving this. They appreciating this. When Trump just did the attack and Fardo. People were saying, Aval Trump, thank you, Trump, damn it, Gam. They were just so grateful. They're loving every second of it. But again, I know that social media posts and comments are not scientifically collected data, right? So I know that. So I don't know that that's
yes,
not
yeah.
going to be but that's basically everywhere I go, I go everywhere, like I even go into the regime supporters accounts and see what they have to say. So based on what I'm seeing, it seems like the vast majority of the commentary out there is appreciating this and loving this, right? But again, it's not scientifically collected data, so we have to be skeptical.
Yeah.
Also, Mazdak, yeah, yeah, go on. But let me also, because Mazdak was trying to correct us, I just want to clarify. But go on, you go on first before I do that. Oh, you wanted to say so? Okay, so let me just correct Mazak. Mazak was trying to say, I'm living in Iran and everybody has access to net. Yeah, just to clarify, the internet is back. That's why I'm finally got news from my dad, because my dad is in Tehran. And I wasn't getting any information from him for 2 days, but
Oh
now the
wow.
internet is back. And the reason the internet is bad is because there's going to be a lot more unrest in Iran if they continue cutting the internet. And nothing like some. I ask. We have a Discord community, a Persian Discord community, and I asked people there, why do you think they reconnected the internet? And they told me that nothing pisses off Iranian people more than cutting the internet. Okay, so if you want unrest, just keep cutting the internet, right? So, and they told me that they think the
Now they have a
strategy
lot
is
of
going
free
to,
time, no scrolling. Yeah, they
yeah,
might take a
yeah,
weapon
yeah.
to their hands. Yeah.
y- Yeah, actually, you're right. If you're not online and watching what's happening on the news and there's no internet, you might be like, hey, we might as well go into the streets and protest. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But at this, they might actually cut the internet again, or they might do it locally based on where they think it's more sensitive. Like they might do it like in Mashhad instead of just doing all over the country, or in Tehran. So we have to see what they're gonna do. But the internet is back right now in Iran. That's why I did a live stream under my Persian show, because the internet was back. Yeah.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So Soren just gave us a super chat saying, "We Iranians stand with Israel, and it's possible this is not between nations, but between a terrorist regime and a democracy." Right. Yes. So a lot of Iranians
Definitely.
see that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah. You wanted to talk to me about certain. You also wanted to talk about in this current conflict. You were interested in talking to me about women rights in Iran. What was that about? Like,
Yes. Well, do you
searching.
know how you said that they paid a very big price, and I'm like very much women's rights advocate, and it absolutely breaks my heart. And I'm actually so proud of the Iranian women because I keep on hearing about, a lot of them now remove the hijab and they're taking more risks. And there's supposed to be new rules now, more strict about the hijab, and they postponed it because of the protests and stuff. And like, my heart goes out to those women. They're so brave, and I salute them honestly. And I just wanted to hear maybe from Iranian women, like where, like how do you think it's gonna go down? Like, do you think there's gonna be more pressure on that, or do you think they have other things to focus on now? Do you think more and more women will remove the hijab and claim
Well,
rights?
yeah, I think a lot of women rights issues in Iran right now
Mm-hmm.
is weaponized by Iranian women and Iranian men
Mm-hmm.
for toppling the regime, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of Iranian women want to mention that, you know what, we're not just fighting to, like, the hijab is
Mm-hmm.
an excuse
Yes.
for us right now. We don't want to be able to not wear the hijab. We want to be able not to have the Islamic Republic. Okay. So
Yeah.
when we remove the hijab, it's not about, hey, we want to, like, first of all, a lot of Iranian women, when they don't wear the hijab, it's just because they don't want to wear the hijab. Okay, that's true. Okay, but when it comes to
Mhm.
the fighters and activists,
Yeah.
those Iranian women are saying, like, this is actually a fight against the regime. This is not a fight for my right not to wear the hijab. This is a fight for my right not to live under the Islamic Republic.
Freedom.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, complete freedom. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and one thing I liked is that, you know how the some of the protests after the killing of Massa started with women life, freedom.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about it is that Iranian women themselves very quickly added, so Zan Zindagi Azadi, they added Mad Mihan Abadi to it. Okay, because, a lot of the women rights activism in Iran is not that kind of the far leftist version of fighting for women rights.
Mm-hmm.
It's they made it very clear at the beginning that, yeah, this is about women rights, but it's also about men. Okay, here, like, we're fighting this together, right?
Yes.
So they added, so Zan Zindagi Azadi, which is women life freedom. They added Mad Mihan Abadi, which means men, nation, prosperity,
That's
to complete
perfect.
it, so that, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I liked about it.
Because
um
it's not just
and
like it's not just women's fight. It's every man and woman that wants to keep freedom.
yes, 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 yes. I mean, it's women rights is an issue that we're fighting for,
Mm-hmm.
but it's part of many other things that we're also fighting for. Another thing that I want to mention about women's rights in Iran, what do you think is the reason why Iranian women are so bold, and that so unwilling to submit to Islamic dominance, and that you see them so present and so loud and so brave? Like, what do you think is
I
what,
think.
because you don't see that in many other Islamic societies, right? What
Yeah.
do you think is the difference?
Well, first, I think that Islam has not been um, in control of Iran for very long. So 79 was it that it took over? And like I was already born in 79, like people, you have people around you that remember how it used to be before, how women had full rights. They could lead, they could be judges, they could be anything, they had, I think Iran used to be your history as well. Iran used to be like the pinnacle of human rights from the time of Cyrus. It has such an amazing lineage and like such amazing history when it comes to freedom and human rights. And I think that's part of the pride that any Iranian might carry within them, you know.
Mm.
And for somebody to show up and say, well, now you have no rights, or now we tell you what rights you're going to have. I can't imagine Ben bowing down to that and say, okay, you just tell us what to do. We have thousands of years of like having like pride in our values, but now we're just gonna give it up.
Okay, so I think the main element is something. So here's the thing: Iran was Islamic before the 1979 Islamic Revolution. We had after the fall of the Sassanid dynasty, we had Iran becoming Islamic, and honestly, even with that, all that ancient history that we mentioned, the position of women in Iran during before the Pahlavi dynasty, during the Qajar dynasty,
Mm-hmm.
was actually very, very bad. So everything you see about Iranian women being free and educated and liberated and empowered,
Mm-hmm.
um, that wasn't there during the Qajar dynasty before the Pahlavis came into power. The position of Iranian women at that time was worse than Afghanistan today. It was
Oh
not,
wow.
yeah, it was horrible. Okay. So the reason, because you're so interested in women rights,
Mm-hmm.
let's give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Is the two Pahlavi kings are responsible for why women in Iran are in such an empowered position that they are today.
Yeah.
It was the
But
reforms and all the work that Reza Shah and Mohammad Reza Shah did. If you see the Iranian woman being right now a curse upon the Islamic Republic and such a powerful force to reckon with, and something that has now humiliated the Islamic Republic. All of that is, I think, the revenge of the Pahlavi. The investment and the empowerment of the Iranian woman by the two Pahlavi kings has now came back and has become such a problematic force for the regime. So even after the two Pahlavis were removed, I think they came back in the form of the Iranian woman and the investment and the empowerment they did on the Iranian woman. And now, even after they're gone, the Iranian women are taking their revenge and fighting back against the Islamic Republic. And because it's the Islamic Republic, the controlling of women's bodies and women's movement in society is the main way that Islamic powers, Islamic governments show their dominance, show their presence, not just to women but also to men. So,
mm-hmm.
like the hijab is a political statement, and it's an enforcement mechanism not just on women but also on men. So when you see women being forced by the government to wear the hijab, that's not
Mm-hmm.
just a statement to women. That's also a statement to men that we are present here. The hijab is our flag. We have control over this area, right? So when women take off their hijab, that's also not just about what women wear. That's also a fight, a statement, a symbolic showing of a power present against that dominant force in that area, right? So when
Yeah.
you see a hijab being forced on a woman, that shows that Sharia is dominant here, that the Islamic government is present here, that we have control over this area. In the same way, when a woman under that pressure takes off her hijab, that's also a statement by not just by that woman, but that society, that we are fighting back, that your power is being reduced here, and we are taking control of this area back from the regime. So the
It's like
empowerment
saying you
of the
won't
Iranian,
control our minds. You cannot
yes,
control our minds. Yeah.
or this area, not just our minds but this
Yeah.
area. So
Yeah.
it's a show of dominance in that area, that this area has been liberated, this area has been taken back from the regime, and now we have control over this area by both men and women.
Yeah.
That's how it
I'm
translates. Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I sometimes wonder that about Jewish women. What makes some of them kind of agree to it and kind of go along with it and say, yes, that's for best. That's how I want to do it. That's how I choose to do it. And that's like, I always look at it and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why? I think for Iranian women, they tasted freedom, um, as you said before. And I think it's hard to forget that taste of freedom once you taste it. And
Hmm.
but I wonder, like, how would you get to a point where people are just saying, yeah, I'm happy to go with those rules that tell me what to do and what to think and how I'm supposed to get dressed or not?
Well, honestly, because they're getting part of they're sharing in the benefits of being, because they're with those women are probably getting a share of the power of the regime. So it's within
Mm-hmm.
their benefit. Like they're with the regime, they're getting paid by the regime, they're working for the regime. The job that they have is influenced by the regime is being in power. So like those women are not lying if they're saying this is in my benefit. It just comes at the cost of other Iranians. So these are, like, honestly, if these people are saying this is they're free, they're right. The problem is that they're stepping upon other Iranian people. um but so when you see some Iranian women wear the hijab, like the full chador, the government version
Yeah.
approved version of the hijab, they are
Yeah.
people who we call them, we say that they're sharing sofraya and galab. I don't know how to try. So basically they're getting a piece of the power, they're getting the piece of the wealth that they are stealing from the rest of the Iranian people. That's why they're so willing to go with it. That's like, it's
They
not
kind
that
of
they're not.
surrender their will to the government in a
No, the
way.
government has given them a share of the power. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why they're betraying their sisters, because they're benefiting from it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah. We got some super chats. John is saying it's a fight against the whole vilayat faqih system. Yes, exactly, and more actually. I would say it's a fight against the whole um, revolutionary mindset of this whole leftist Islamic alliance. Oh, by the way, that's a very important, because what do you guys think about this deep hatred that many Iranians now have for anything that is leftist, because they think that it was the alliance between leftism and Islamism that took away their country. And that's why all, like, sometimes when people want to swear at me in Persian, they call, like this, they call me leftist as if it's a swear word, right? I don't know if a lot of
Hmm.
people understand that, like, notice that among Iranian people. But what do you think about that?
Well, I have a feeling like the left views are maybe guilt ridden. It's almost like, yeah, we did a lot of bad things. Now we have to like go and support. And I see it a lot I can't really say much about the Iranian thing, but I see it a lot in Palestinian concept, like the leftist is very pro-Palestine, and sometimes it's almost like, yeah, imperialism is bad. Never mind that Jews being there is not imperialism, okay? But imperialism is bad. We should just be like go with the underdog, and it's like there's like you can see that there's like a bond between the most leftist views and the most radical Islamist views, because it's almost like saying, yeah, you're entitled to have your own opinion on how to want to live your life, even if you remove rights from different people. That's your indigenous right. It's like coming to a nation that says, like, we behead every whatever short person and say, well, we're not telling you what to do, because that would be like taking over your narrative, and we don't want to do that. And I think there's too much agreement from the leftist view to radical views they wouldn't normally have. Like they would, if you like leftist views is also pro-gay, for example, yes, but like
Mm.
come and see what radical Islam thinks about gays, and let's see how that works for you. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance there that they're not actually thinking all the way through.
Yeah, I don't think these people know what imperialism means. Because the only forms of actual imperialism that I see today is mostly Islamic imperialism, one, and
Hmm.
maybe Putin's imperialism. That's the only two forms of imperialism that exist. And it's
I
interesting
agree.
because they're fighting, yeah, they're fighting countries, they're fighting the people who are the most anti-imperialists right now in the world. Like, if Israel, I think Zionism is an anti-imperialist movement. Zionism is anti-imperialism. And also United States, it has anti-imperialism with its in DNA. I mean, the whole concept of a modern nation state, which was invented by United States foundation as a country was an anti-imperialist project. That whole thing. And if you're truly anti-imperialist, the best way to be anti-imperialist right now today is to support the Iranian people against their government, which is trying to create a Shia empire, right?
I agree.
And yeah,
I agree.
somebody saying Zionism is anti-imperialism, laughing. Yeah, exactly. Zionism is anti-imperialism. You guys just are too stupid to understand that.
It's
If you're laughing at
decolonialism
that,
because
yeah,
the Jews are
exactly.
the indigenous people of that land.
Yeah, and the Jews lived under empires until Zionism. They lived under
Empires
so
that
many
kicked them
different.
out of that land. Some of them stayed, but some of them were kicked out to different countries. They went to through a lot to come back there. That's decolonialism.
Exactly, exactly. So it's so funny how so many people think they're anti-imperialism, and by anti-imperialism they want to be anti-Zionist, and they don't even understand what these words even mean. So
But I
they're
feel
so
like we have
brainwashed,
to dwell for a second about what Zionism means because I've seen that frame
right?
twisted so much. Like some people think Zionism is a lot of things that it isn't. And so I would give you the narrow, like the basic thing that I think we all agree on. Zionism is the wish for the Jewish people to be allowed to have a country of their own where they don't get persecuted by anyone. That's it. That's what Zionism is. I mean, any other thing added to it is more like it has like other agendas. But Zionism is just saying we want to live freely in our own country. That's it.
Mm, so I say, let me know if you agree with this definition. I would say Zionism is the belief that Israel has the right to exist and has the right to defend itself. Simple as that.
Yeah, as a
Okay.
homeland for the Jews. Yes.
Right. So the reason why I define it like that is because I want to be inclusive to non-Jews as well. Like you don't
Oh,
have to
yeah.
be
Sorry.
a
Sorry. Yeah.
Jew.
Obviously. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like I consider myself a Zionist, even though I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
neither Israeli or Jew. So do you think like non-Jews and non-Israelis could be Zionist?
Of course. Of course. It's just
Yeah.
saying this country should exist as a homeland to protect the Jews,
Right.
but also any other Israeli. I mean, what if there's
Right.
one thing I can say about atheism? It brings people closer together. I have like like with religions it's always like my religion is correct or your religion is correct, but with science and atheism we can all be fine. We're fine. We see each other as people. It's not like we put aside all the the things that separate us, um, which are a lot of religion and religious views and stuff. And first time I found like there's a group on Facebook called Atheists of the Holy Land, and it's like Arab, Israeli, Palestinian group for atheists. And like first time I found it, I was so excited. I was like, yes, that's amazing. This is like when you see sometimes when you go to the street and you hear Arabs, Jews, but like when you add atheism to it, all of a sudden it doesn't matter. To me at least, it doesn't matter. I don't see myself, oh no, I'm the chosen people or something like. I don't see that like that. We're all people. That's it. We don't have to have those titles above our heads that separate us.
So, but I've been to Israel, and I noticed many atheist Israelis still appreciate uh, Judaism as a culture. Not like they don't believe in the stories. They don't believe that
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Moses and Abraham. Like they don't believe in any. They don't believe in Yahweh. They don't believe in any of those things
Hmm.
happening. But
Yeah.
even the Israel, like I also met. To be fair, I also met some Israeli atheists that don't even care about the culture aspect of it. But most Israeli atheists, they think like, yeah, okay, these are all myth, but it's
Yeah.
our heritage, it's our culture, it's part of our DNA.
Hmm.
This are is part of our tradition. These rituals are keep us together. They bond us together, and we do it to celebrate. So they don't have to be real stories for us for it to still have some value. What do you think about
Totally,
that? Like,
totally
yeah,
agree. And I would
yeah,
say it's like you as an Iranian, you might have some, feelings towards the Persian,
Zoroastrianism.
empire. What?
Zoroastrian. This is,
Yeah, yeah,
among
exactly.
Iranians, I noticed this. They have the same. So many Iranians who are patriotic and nationalistic, they have
Yeah.
the feeling that I notice atheist Israelis have towards Judaism. I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that Iranians who are like they're tired of Islam or hate Islam or basically are exhausted about Islam, okay, they want to display their patriotic the symbolism that they want to use to demonstrate their patriotism or nationalism is with Zoroastrianism, even though they
Mm-hmm.
technically most of them don't know what the teachings of Zoroastrianism or many of the stories. They just
Yeah.
like their rituals and symbols because this is ancient and it's of this land, and they think like, yeah, cultural Zoroastrians, exactly. So
Well,
in the
because
same way that yeah,
we have a rich
yeah,
background. We have a rich story. We have, no, okay, the Bible is bullshit. Okay, fine. At least the first part, the Torah is absolute bullshit. Okay, let's agree on that. Nothing there can be verified. It's just stories. All right, but we still have one of the ancient books in history. We still have a culture that goes back thousands of years. We've been here when we've been in Israel when things happened, like we witnessed some kings from Babylon, and we've witnessed some other things. We've done things. There's a long heritage of things that are still part of our history and our culture, regardless of the fact that they believed in nonsense.
right, right. I haven't noticed anybody being cultural Muslims. Like,
Because it's not the
you're either
same.
Muslim. Yeah, I mean, you're either Muslim or you're not. Like, I noticed like a lot of atheists that are cultural Christians. They don't believe in Christianity, but they are cultural Christians. I've noticed a lot of atheists that are cultural Jews. I noticed a lot of atheists who might be cultural Zoroastrians, but I haven't met Muslims, atheists who are cultural Muslims. I don't know if that's a thing as much.
I
Okay,
would
yeah,
just say, well, Islam is a religion. Judaism is ethno religion. It's not just a religion. It's also an ethnic group. Like I can be not. I still call myself a Jew, even though I don't believe in God, because of Jewish heritage. I'm of Jewish background. My nation, my people are called Jews, whether they believe it or not. So while you won't be a Muslim if you stop believing in Allah, if you say religion is bullshit, I don't believe in that, you're not a Muslim anymore. But you can say religion is bullshit and still be a Jew, if it makes sense.
mm, yeah, makes sense because same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's very similar to Zoroastrianism. We have some super chats that I want to respond to. Hirschfeld is saying, "Does Iranians fear foreign-driven resistance? Do Iranians fear foreign-driven resistance? What is that? I don't understand that question. What do you think that means? Iranians fear foreign-driven resistance. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that resistance to what. Okay, sorry, I don't understand the question. I'm just gonna keep it star.
Okay.
Oh, resisting foreign aid. Oh, okay. So maybe that's what it means. No, I mean the vast majority of the Iranians I'm in touch with, they think like we need foreign aid. If that's what you mean, like when it comes to this war, when it comes to trying to topple the regime, there's a lot of hope. Right? Okay, there a lot of Iranians are very right now. They're stressed. Right now, there a lot of them are depressed. Right now, a lot of them they're under a lot of pressure because this war. So I'm not going to deny the pressure and the stress that the Iranian people are feeling right now, but they're also hopeful, and a lot of them right now are thinking that you know what, it's worth if this current war between Israel and the Islamic Republic with all the stress and all the cost, if it leads to the toppling of the regime, it was all worth it. That's the sense that I'm getting from the Iranian people right now. Amir is
Mhm.
saying no word about Israel or Iran, just about Armin Navabi, who does the hard work uh, towards futuristic peace. We need smart and rational people like you to keep the world beautiful. Thank you. Oh well, thank you so much, Amir. That's very sweet. Um, let's
Eh,
see. By the way, Niva, if you have any questions or anything like that comes to your mind, let me know. Okay.
mhm.
Rifik is saying, should there be reservation for mortads for apostates? Should be reservations for. Yeah, I don't know what that's referring to. Do you know what's this like? Do you have any answer to this question?
No, I'm
Reservations.
not sure.
I don't,
Let me just
I
say,
don't
I did
understand.
say the moral is very high in Israel, but obviously they're putting it under a lot of stress. I mean, the
Yes.
the Muslim regime is actually attacking just civilian neighborhoods. You know, you can see a few buildings disappear, people die.
Yes.
No, but like they sit in shelters and they don't know if they're going to be next. So nobody likes to sit like this, to be under that kind of pressure when you know you're just a civilian, you've not done anything. Yeah, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I think despite the fact that everybody's living like really anxious time right now, like being stuck in a war they didn't choose, you know, I think they know we're on the right side of it. We
Right.
had no
And
choice.
do you know why the Islamic Republic is targeting mostly civilian, highly, populated civilian areas? Do you know why they're doing that? Because it, it shouldn't make any sense. Like right now they're being hit using the military bases in Israel. So you would think if they want to retaliate, they would be targeting the military bases. But why
Yeah,
are
but
they focusing?
I think they don't want to retaliate. I think they're scared. I think they're scared that if they attack military, they're gonna get much, much worse. Like they know it can escalate even more. And I think they're just
Well, I
doing
don't know.
like the display of here, we're shooting back at you. You know, they like last year when there was like an exchange of missiles, it was more like here's a representative of missiles. That's not what we can do, but it just like so nobody says we stayed quiet and didn't respond. You know?
Right. So honestly, I think that hitting Israel's civilian areas gets Israel more riled up and angry than hitting the military bases. So I don't think that's the reason. Like, if let me tell you what my theory is. My
Yes.
theory is because they need images of absolute destruction and chaos from Tel Aviv to appease their own followers. Because right now, they are struggling from an internal conflict as well. Right now, there are a lot of people within the regime that are so like they're so followers and supporters of the regime that if
Mm-hmm.
they get too pissed off before Israel could come finish the job, the regime will collapse from within because their
Mm-hmm.
insiders are going to basically tear it apart from inside, anyways, right? So the
Yeah.
regime, this is why the regime needs propaganda more than anything else for its self defense right now. It needs to pretend like it's still strong and it's hitting Israel very hard. So they want to show Israeli people being devastated, and it needs pictures of Tel Aviv and being turned into rubble for its
Mm-hmm.
internal consumption. That's what they need. They need it for propaganda. They need good
Yeah,
pictures,
but
exactly,
wouldn't
Kambi.
wouldn't like a picture of like Israeli airplanes, you know, being out of order, like if they could hit like if they could be
Yeah, but
precise enough to hit like let's say um an army base and show the destruction of the Israeli response, you know, for example, no more airplanes can fly or something. That would be even better, I think. I
yeah,
mean,
but
I've
they're not
seen
precise enough.
AI videos of Israel, which are quite funny. Like,
Yes,
you know, you see all kind
yes.
of things that don't really exist kind of fall apart, and it's amazing. It's beautiful AI. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not precise enough to be able to hit like a plane in an army base.
Mm-hmm.
They that's why they're just hoping that seeing a building like they're just throwing cluster bombs in a downtown area in Tel Aviv will get you a
Yes.
picture that like a bomb like a, because if they want to hit something in a military base, it needs to be precise enough to actually hit a plane or something, or else you're just
Yes.
going to have a big hole in an airbase which they could
Yes.
just refill within a couple of hours. That's not going to result the pictures that they want, right? So that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason, right? Is that doesn't work out for them, right?
Yeah.
um so that's my theory. I heard another theory is that they're hoping that the Israeli people would get so scared and stressed that they would pressure their government to stop the attack. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that's their reason. I don't, because I think the
Come
Israeli
on,
people
we've
are
had
very
2,000 years of people persecuting us. We had the Holocaust behind us. Nothing. You
Mhm.
can't scare us with that. You can't. We're stronger
Right.
than that.
Yes. Okay. That's good. Let's go. Actually, this is a good one to respond to. Rotem with the super chat was saying, Armin, you know who? Can you pronounce this for me? I don't know how to read that.
I
So it
can't really
seems like
read
a
it. Sorry, I
Hebrew name.
went to the chat and I'm not sure how to go back to cancel it. Do you know how to change it?
No, no, you
I'm
can see
trying
it.
to
You
see.
should be. It's highlighted on the screen. I'm just gonna try.
Yeah, but it's me.
Eliyahu.
It's kind of
Oh,
yeah.
saying Eliyahu Yosian.
Yossian,
Yusian.
Leo Yossian
Okay.
is
Okay.
an Israeli
Um.
of like Iranian um origin, and he has a very clear Iranian accent. Yeah, Eliyahu
Okay.
Yossian.
So apparently he has this opinion. Let me see. So Rotem is saying he says that Iranians see Israel's involvement as hurting the national pride and oppose it. Like he's wrong. What is he talking about? And it's better for Israelis not to come and tell Iranians to go out. Yep. I mean, he's wrong. Where is he getting his information? Everything I'm seeing shows me the opposite of what he's talking about. Where is he getting his information from? Like, I would like to see his sources
We would
because I'm.
never tell Iranian people what to do. They know what to do. We're just supporting you. We're behind you 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but the Iranian TV was hacked by Israel, and there was a message there broadcasted suggesting that this is your time to come into the streets. So
Beautiful.
yeah, that was welcomed by every. I mean, again, maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but trying to look everywhere as much as possible, and I saw nothing but celebrations and welcoming of that message everywhere I look, unless you go into regime supporting places, and I don't think they are
Yeah.
representing the Iranian people, so I don't know
I
where.
disagree with
where
almost everything Eliyahu Yossian says.
Really,
Like, I
who's
don't
this
agree.
guy?
Yeah, I don't agree with him.
Yeah, he seemed like to not be very informed about the Iranian people because yeah, get him to come talk to me because I don't know what's the source. I mean, I'm in touch with Iranian people on a daily basis. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm constantly in touch with them and talking to them, and even when I'm not talking to them, I'm reading their comments and following, consuming their content everywhere. So I don't know. That's not the picture I'm getting. I don't know where he's
Yeah.
getting it from. Yeah. And then Ginga is saying Trump wants to annex Canada and Greenland. Okay. Okay. Yeah, good luck with that. Let me see. There were some comments that were
I'm not
starred by
sure if
Amir.
Trump actually means 100% of what he says. I think sometimes it's almost for comic values. I don't
He,
know.
I mean, he sounds like he's serious about that. I don't get it. I don't get that part.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not gonna. I'm not in a mood to say anything bad against Trump these days, given that he did what we wanted him to do. Given that he finally came in and he supported Israel and he bombed Fordo. Like I know. I mean, I've been criticizing. I mean, I've been saying positive and negative things about Trump. I'm not the black and white. I defend him where he does something that I like, and I criticize him when he does something that I don't like. But right now,
Hmm.
I'm not in the mood on criticizing him at all because I'm
He's
just
on the
very,
right
very
side of
grateful.
history.
Right now, yeah, right now, At least in this, but this, he's on the right side of history, and he was very. I'm very grateful. Um, yeah. So Nike here saying, "I'm proud of a little country like Israel, fighting barbarism, superstitions, and religious fanaticism." Yeah, it's very,
Absolutely.
it's if I was religious, I could see why somebody would think that God is supporting Israel, like this tiny little country standing against all of these waves of barbarism and still coming on top and defeating everyone. Like, if you're a religious Jew, you're like, come on, we
Yeah.
must. There, this is divine power on our side. I mean, it cannot be anything else. Like,
Yes, but we have to remember it wasn't religion
right?
that created all those missiles and those airplanes and trained all the pilots and gathered the
Right.
information. It was secular hard work. And that's something to
Yes.
remember, even for those people who believe that it's God's work, you know?
Yes. And again, as a liberal, I would say this actually demonstrates the power of liberalism, of liberal
Exactly.
values, of capitalism, um, of
Education.
all education, technology, of
Hmm.
Western liberal values, that
Yes.
Israel has inherited from all the Jews that came from Europe to
It's
Israel.
it's
Uh,
actually
yeah,
Israel's secularism that allowed it to be such a power
right,
place, you know?
right, exactly, exactly. I would say not just I would say all liberal values, right? So which is
Hmm.
includes um, liberal values includes secularism, nationalism, um, separations of power within government, democracy, free speech, um,
Hmm.
investment in science and technology, all of that together. I think like it's basically,
Definitely.
by the way, a lot of Americans might be watching when they hear liberalism, they might think we're talking about leftist values. No, we're talking
Yeah.
about classical liberal values. Okay, we're not talking about leftist values, right? We're talking about
It's hard, you see,
basically it's
because for every word you have so many meanings behind it. You know, I
right,
noticed, like, for example, I noticed when ISIS was in power, like when it was the time that, like, ISIS was very famous. Um, I found on Twitter somebody who posted things for ISIS. I was like, "Why are you doing this for?" And he said, "We're trying to get rid of corruption." I said, "What is corruption?" He said, "Well, anybody who's not Muslim is corruption." So it's like
right,
you can just add tags to things and then justify yourself. You know, you could say anybody who doesn't agree with me is corruption. Therefore, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. And you notice that the people use words like Zionism. It's being used in a certain way in order to like
right.
attack a certain group of people. You know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we actually have to look up the meanings of words before we just use them. Yeah, like words like liberalism, Zionism, imperialism, all of these, like people just use them in a way that
Whatever way they
basically,
want to use them. Yes.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, we have to be careful with them. Words are weapons, so we have to be careful in
That
how we use
the
them.
point is, it just means different things to different people. So maybe we need better words or more accurate, like, definitions of those words.
Yeah, or we could just define our terms before we start talking to each other. Yeah,
Hmm.
like. We got a super chat by Ginga saying free Iran would be the enemy of Western leftists. Yes, and also Islamism. Yes, I think the greatest evils right now in the world are these three: Islamism, Marxism, wokeism. These are the three greatest evil of the world right now, right? And then again, I'm not
I
against
would
all
say I
leftists.
would say communism as well, because if you look at the UN, it's the communist
I think
countries and the
Marxism.
Islamist countries kind of created one united front, and they kind of agree
Yeah,
against the West.
yeah. I mean, I said Marxism to cover
Yeah,
communism as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Right. So yeah, I mean communism, sure.
yeah.
Yeah, communism. These are the three: communism, Islamism, and wokeism. And by the way, I'm not against all left. I mean, I have some leftist views. I have some right-leaning views. I have some left-leaning views. So a lot of
Hmm.
people, because I'm against leftist, but when we say leftist, we're talking about wokeism and Marxism. We're not talking about all leftist positions, right? We
We're
have
not against
liberal left.
liberal views. We're against
Yes,
when it goes
exactly.
far too far of it. Yeah.
Yes, when it goes woke or Marxist, then we have a problem with that. So we have within left, we have liberal views. We have within right leaning politics, we have liberal views. So for me, it's not whether or not it's left or right. For me, it's whether or not it's liberal or illiberal, right? So right leaning liberal views, right leaning illiberal views, and then we have left leaning liberal views and left leaning illiberal views. So within the
Yeah.
left, illiberal views are Marxism and wokeism. That's how I classify it, right?
Yeah. It's funny
Um,
because you call it Marxism, but like I don't see it. Like, okay, that's why I called it capitalism because, like, Marx might have had an idea, but it was developed later on into other, like people took it to wherever they wanted to take it. I don't think, I
right.
think they took it out of context and they made it into something worse than what he meant.
I mean, Marx was when it comes to his anti-capitalist views, he was pretty wrong about that. To be
Yeah,
fair,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he had some interesting other ideas that were kind of correct, but his anti-capitalist views were very horrible. Yeah, I mean, maybe I should call it communism. You're right.
Mm.
Um, yeah. What else needs to? Okay, so flying robot duck in the chat is saying, what else needs to happen before the Iranian people can finish the Islamic regime? Okay, as I mentioned, what I hope happens is two things: the IDF taking out a lot more Basiji bases and Niri and Tazami bases. That's number one. Actually, let me make it into a list of three. Two, taking out, I hope the IDF, with the help of Mossad's intelligence, takes out a lot of commanders that are responsible for controlling the masses and suppressing the Iranian people. That's number two. And number three, which would be the ultimate signal for the Iranian people to come into the streets and take back their country from this Islamic regime, would be the killing of Ali Khamenei. And I hope that the IDF does that for the Iranian people. So those are the three
Me
things that I
too.
think needs to happen. Yeah, that would be
That'd
great.
be the final note, right? Yeah,
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
final chord
exactly.
to mark the beginning of something else.
Yes. Yusuf is asking, was Trump taking out the three nuclear sites a major blow? Oh my God, yes, for sure. Basically, they have no more cards to play with. There's no negotiation anymore. There's nothing. They have no leverage. It's the only thing is either absolute the toppling of the regime, or basically there's no deal to be made anymore. It's all if there's any talks. I hope there's no more talks with them. But if there are any talks, it's only going to be the terms of surrender, because all their cards now have been removed from them. Right. So that's how important that is. And then the final question, Seth is saying, Armin, how effective has the Basiji targeting been? It has been very effective, but it has been small. So it has been very powerful. It has been symbolic and has also been devastating, but it has only started. So we need more of that. All right, yeah. Okay, so that was everything. Sorry, I said 1 hour, but we went over. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Niva, ask or comment on? Oh,
I'm
where can
just
people?
I'm just hoping I'm hoping we're gonna see in the next few days or maybe in the next month or so. I wish it won't last very long because I do have family friends that are, running for shelter and fearing for their life every day. But I hope that whatever we're like, if Israel and the IDF started something and they did like 80% of it, I hope they complete the other 20% that will allow freedom for the Iranian people and to be free of that regime.
Well, I appreciate that. I really appreciate it, and I think it's good that we are having conversations. I think it's very helpful right now for Iranian people and Israeli people to have more conversations with each other at this time. So I really
Definitely.
appreciate you coming here and talking to me um, about all of this. So thank you for all of that, and I also really appreciate your wishes for the Iranian people. But where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. And I also have a TikTok account, but mainly Facebook, I would say. And obviously, if you speak Hebrew and you've not come across our program yet, we're called Hakava Ateisti. You're welcome to log in and check us out. In 20 minutes, we're actually going to go live with the show
Oh,
every
okay. So I'm gonna
Sunday,
let you
9
go.
o'clock Israel time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna let you go so you could get prepared for the show.
Oh,
Just
I'm not on the show today, but like we have a
oh, okay.
team of hosts, and we just like take turns and stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, fantastic. Let me just highlight two more short comments. Peter is calling the killing of Khamenei the ultimate cutlet, which I really like, and that's beautiful. I appreciate that, Peter. And also, Amir just saying, don't forget to like the stream. Yes, guys, please like the stream. That really helps support the show. And oh, Jean here. Jean is our admin, and fantastic. She's giving us a super chat. Thank you. So Jean is saying we have a whole Discord forum for talking to Israelis. Okay,
Oh,
forum.
that's
Okay,
perfect.
it's a forum.
I would love to hear about that.
Okay, yeah. So, Jean, get in touch with Niva about your Discord forum regarding this. That's interesting. It seems like you guys
Yeah,
could
I
collaborate
shared
with some.
on my Facebook that I'm gonna be talking to you today. So if you share it, whoever wants to see will see my account.
Okay, fantastic.
All right.
Um. All right. Great. Thank you again, Niva. I'm gonna end the
It was
stream now,
such
guys.
an
Don't forget
honor
to
to
like.
talk to you
Oh,
and to
oh, really?
also,
That's sweet.
yes,
Thank you.
we
I
love that. And
appreciate that.
I'm sure more Israeli would love to come and, just show their support and chat to you if that's what you would like to do.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would look forward to that. That would be amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna say let Niva go. And again, thank you for being so generous with your time. And guys, until next time, I'm Israel Kai.
I'm Israel Chai. And so is the Iranian one.
Yes. Okay. All right.